Shalom, my little friends. I was going to do both of these, all these chapters, but actually we're just going to do this one on 34 because got some things to show you that Jesus has had me find on the internet. And, well, it's interesting stuff here. Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou lift up thy voice? This is Job 38:34. Sorry. Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Let's look at these words here. Lift up. Canst thou lift? Actually, lift up is supposed to be there. Lift up thy voice to the clouds. Lift up. To be high, exalt. Presumptuously set up on high. Promote, proud, tall, taller. Breed worms. Breed worms. Look it up yourself. Lift up thy voice, the word for voice. Crackling, bleeding, lightness. Sing, sound, spark. Kabbalists, Freemasons, they like that spark. Thunder, thundering. The clouds. This is a different concordance number. It's 5645. It means thick, thicket. Darkness, as in destiny. It has an in destiny. Destiny beside the word darkness. Very interesting stuff there. An envelope. Thick cloud. Okay. That abundance of waters. That word for waters. And one of my subscribers, Praise Yahushua Jesus, brought it up about how one of the definitions for waters actually means piss, semen. So here is your sexual connection, and if you will notice that I believe it's in the above one where it talks about sexual connection. Nope, it's down there at verse 36 somewhere, I think. Down there at the bottom. Anyway, nope, 37. I digress. So, waters means juice, piss, semen, water, watering, water, flood, water course, water spring. Waters may cover. That word for cover means fill up hollows. Cover for clothing or secrecy. Clad self, hide. Close, clothe, conceal, hide. Flee to hide, cover thee. Alright. So let's talk about this. Now, the beginning verses in 38 is this. Alright, I can't go through all these because I don't have the time for it this morning. Thought I did, but I don't. Here is verse 30 through 32 of 38 Job. And then here is verse 33 through 38 of Job. He brings up Orion and the Mazzaroth, and the Mazzaroth is zodiac signs, and he brings up weather modification down here at the bottom. Canst thou bring forth the Mazzaroth? That word for Mazzaroth comes from the root word Mazzalah. It comes from the word 4216, but it comes from the root word 4208, and it means raining. Zodiacal sign affecting the weather. Okay, because I've been talking a lot on here about how the weather modification, the cloud seeding, the inkjet printers, the silver iodide they've been shooting up in there, and to do with the Mandela effect, really. But because you've got in 31, he's asking, can you bind the sweet influences, the words, the sweet influences of Pleiades, the 7 stars? Can you bind the sweet influences, the words? can you, okay, he's asking, can you bind? And that word for bind turns into gird, can turn into gird. And then he's asking, can you ungird Orion? Loose the bands of Orion. Can you ungird the bands of Orion? So, see, very interesting words. Pleiades is gird, and Orion is bind, ungird. Very interesting stuff here. What are the bands of Orion? What are they? And in the Mazzaroth down here, planet. That word for planet, there's only one other place. Where is it? 2 Kings 2:23. I mean, 2 Kings 23:5. He brings up planets, and instead of putting stars there, he puts the word planets. My personal opinion, this is my opinion 100%. The zodiac, all the zodiac signs are a symbol, a representation for the 12 fallen angels that run and rule these 12 constellations, these 12 planets. They are the 12 planets. It's all about worshiping the stars. It's all about worshiping the stars in the heaven. They are their ascended masters, their fallen angels. Okay, so let's go back over here, because I really wanted to show y'all something. Praise you, Jesus. Really wanted to show y'all something about how it talks about breeding worms. Look what we got going on here. Worm data. Unraveling the mystery of memory in the 1960s. Okay, so he decides to take a worm. Sorry, got a major headache. Please excuse me. He decides to take a worm and cut that worm's head off, and then they start adding this worm's DNA or whatever to these other worms to see if they remember things, and they did. And so it's called worm memory. And this is where CD-ROM, CDR, and DVD-R came from, is this worm memory, where this guy took and cut this thing's head off and decided to, here it is, and he came up with memory. So this is what your little memory discs, your little SD cards, that's what this comes from, is them cutting the heads off of worms and then attaching, or not attaching, but the worm grows its own head back, but they use the DNA from the worm that they just cut the head off. They've taught all kinds of stuff to. They use that worm's DNA into the new worm that they've cut, and they see how far this worm, what it remembers and whatnot, and this is how this all come about. So that was in the 60s, and so this is what we have today. Write once, read many, but it has to do with memory. And so it's interesting. Now this is about it, and was this one about the salmon? No, but this talks about silver. The chemical composition of these layers varies depending on where disc is manufactured. Where does it talk about construction? Okay, so it's reflective layer, coating. I was trying to look to find your silver. Sandwich layers. Well, I thought it talked about silver, but it talks about your optical storage. Consist of a substrate. that has been stamped with data from a master, a metal reflective layer, and a protective top coating. Okay. I don't see where it talks about the silver, so we're going to go on. Oh, okay. So, in 2012, on Doctor Who, there was a Christmas show in 2012 called The Snowman, and he had what? A memory worm on there. And this memory worm was an alien worm that could remove memories of those it touched. This was in 2012 on Doctor Who, on a Christmas series. Alright, 2012. The Higgs boson was found in 2012. Very interesting stuff here. So, where do you go, Ashley? Lord Jesus, where do we go? Already did that one. A worm in 2012, April 12th of 2012, a worm reportedly planted by Iranian double agent using memory stick. U.S. and Israeli operatives determined to slow Iran's nuclear program saboteur. Convert operators from Israel and the U.S. wanted to use a saboteur on the ground to spread the infection to ensure the worm burrowed into the most vulnerable machines in the system. Alright, so the U.S. and Israel in April 12th of 2012 sent a worm up in the Iranians' missiles. Okay. You want to see something? Let me just show y'all something. Not I, but Yahushua Jesus through me. April 5th of 2012, the Vatican and Israel spar over disputed Last Supper. Apparently the spot that they're fighting over, the roof, there's an old minaret from when this place was marked as Muslim holy site. When building three religions, decades of property disputes, and the fight isn't over. Oh, sorry. If there's one building in Jerusalem that represents the city's tangle of religions, this is it. The ground floor is the Jewish holy site, said to house the tomb of King David. And the second floor is a Christian holy site, the room believed to be where Jesus sat Last Supper. Alright. And the roof is an old place for the Muslims' holy site. So you got Jewish, Muslim, and Hindu. Jewish, Muslim, and Christian. Catholic at that. Not just Christian, Catholic. In this one building. That's where? On Mount Zion. Where they say Mount Zion is. But April 5th of 2012, they were having this dispute. April 12th of 2012, Israel and the United States sent one of these memory worms into Iranian missiles, or Iranian military stuff, or whatever it is, whatever it's called, whatever. Slow Iran's nuclear program. So this worm was able to go in there and slow this program using this memory worm. Memory worms. Alright? Dude, there are no coincidences. They figured out this thing could work. I think, I don't know what else happened there. More happened there. I gotta go, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day in the name of Yahushua. I gotta go. Thanks so much for listening. I really hope that this has done some good for somebody, because I know that it has for me. But you see, I'm in the wording line. We're gonna get